There's a moment, and if you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you open your banking app and for the very first time, you don't immediately close it. You just sit there, staring at four digits that don't start with a zero and end in your last 2 weeks of survival. $1,000, just sitting there, not earmarked for rent, not already spent on a car repair you knew was coming, not borrowed. Yours. And something shifts, quietly, almost invisibly. Not because $1,000 is retirement money, not because it changes your address or your job title or what you drive, but because somewhere in the back of your brain, a switch flips, and for the first time, you stop playing financial defense. That moment is what this video is about, because nobody talks about the first $1,000. Every finance channel wants to talk about your first 100,000, your first million, your first passive income check. But they skipped the beginning. They skipped the moment that actually starts everything. And if you're sitting somewhere right now with less than $1,000 saved, this might be the most important video you'll ever watch about money. My name is Johnson, and I spend a lot of time thinking about the psychology behind money, not just the math, but why some people seem to quietly build wealth while others stay stuck in the same exact spot for years, doing everything right and somehow never gaining ground. If that sounds familiar, make sure you subscribe, because that's exactly what this channel is about. And if this video helps you see money differently, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find it. Now, let's talk about $1,000 and why it matters so much more than the number suggests. Part 1. The real reason most people never save the first $1,000. Here's a stat that should stop you cold. According to a 2024 Bankrate survey, 56% of Americans could not cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings. More than half the country. One unexpected car repair, one emergency room visit, one busted water heater, and the majority of Americans are either going into debt or calling someone for help. And here's what makes that number genuinely disturbing. It's not that people aren't earning enough to save. Median household income in America right now is over $77,000 a year. That's more than $6,400 a month. And somehow, the majority of households are still $1,000 emergency away from financial chaos. So what's actually happening? It's not laziness, it's not stupidity. It's a trap, and it's one that's specifically designed to keep you in it. Here's how it works. When you have zero savings, every dollar that comes in already has somewhere to go before it even lands. Rent, car, insurance, food, subscriptions you forgot you have. The moment you get paid, you're already behind. There's nothing left over. And the month you do manage to scrape a little extra together, boom, something breaks, something's due, something comes up, and you're back to zero. Financial researchers call this the scarcity trap. When your brain is operating under financial scarcity, meaning you don't have a cushion, it hyper-focuses on immediate survival. It literally cannot think long-term, not because you're not smart enough, because survival mode and growth mode cannot run at the same time. It's like trying to plan a road trip while your car is on fire. The fire is the only thing that exists. And the cruel irony is this: the less you have saved, the harder it is to save, because every small financial shock, a $200 car repair, a $150 medical copay, a $90 parking ticket, completely wipes out whatever progress you just made. You're not just standing still, the math is working against you. So the first $1,000 isn't just a savings milestone, it's a jailbreak. And once you understand what it actually unlocks, you'll never look at that number the same way again. Part 2. What $1,000 actually does to your brain. Let's talk about what happens the moment you cross that threshold, because it's not what most people expect. When your savings account hits $1,000 for the first time, the mathematical difference in your life is honestly not that dramatic. You're not suddenly rich, you can't retire, you can't quit your job, you can't even fully cover most emergencies on your own. But the psychological difference? That's enormous. Research from the Urban Institute found that families with as little as $250 to $750 in savings were less likely to experience hardship after a job loss or income disruption than families with no savings at all. Not $10,000, not $50,000, $250. The buffer doesn't have to be huge to change how your brain operates. It just has to exist. Here's what actually changes when you hit $1,000. First, you stop making panic decisions. When you have nothing saved, you accept the first job offer that comes along because you need money now. You stay in situations that aren't working because leaving feels too risky. You say yes to things you don't want to do because you need the cash. $1,000 won't let you quit your job and travel Europe, but it gives you just enough breathing room to say, I don't have to accept the first option. That small shift changes everything about how you navigate your financial life. Second, your relationship with unexpected expenses completely changes. Before $1,000, your car needs a $400 repair. That's a crisis. That's a missed rent payment, a credit card charge, a phone call to someone you don't want to call. Your entire month is derailed. After $1,000, your car needs a $400 repair. That's annoying. You pay it. You rebuild. You move on. Same event, completely different experience. Because the first time your back was against the wall, the second time you had room to absorb it. Third, and this is the one most people miss, you prove something to yourself. Saving your first $1,000 from scratch, especially on a normal income, requires something hard. It requires saying no repeatedly. It requires choosing the future version of yourself over the version that wanted to spend that money on something easier and more immediate. That's a skill, and once you know you have it, it changes how you see yourself financially. You're no longer just someone things happen to. You're someone making things happen. That identity shift? It compounds, just like the money will. Part 3. The math nobody shows you. Let's run some numbers, because this is where it gets genuinely exciting. Say you're 25 years old, you just hit $1,000 saved. You invested in a basic S&P 500 index fund and leave it completely alone. At a historical average of 10% per year, that $1,000 becomes roughly $45,000 by the time you're 65. You put in $1,000, you touched nothing, you got $45,000. Now here's where people get the wrong picture. They hear that and think, okay, so I just need to save a lot of money fast and invest it. But that's not actually the lesson. The lesson is about when the growth happens and why the first $1,000 matters so much more than the second $1,000. Here's what compounding interest actually looks like over time. In year 1 on your $1,000, you earn about $100, barely noticeable. Year 5, your total is around $1,600, still feels slow. Year 10, you're at $2,594. Year 20, you're at $6,722. Year 30, $17,449. Year 40, $45,259. The last 10 years of that journey, years 30 to 40, your money grew by almost $28,000, more than the entire previous 30 years combined. That's the compounding curve. And the reason the first $1,000 is so critical is simple. You can't start compounding until you start. Every year you delay saving that first $1,000, you don't just lose $1,000, you lose the compounding tail of that $1,000, the $28,000 it would have generated in the final decade. You're not behind by $1,000, you're behind by far more. Let me show you this another way. 2 people, same income, same age, 22 years old. Person A saves $1,000 and invests it immediately, then saves another $200 starting right now. Person B waits 3 years to start. I'll get serious when I make more money, they say. Then they also save $200 a month. By age 65, person A has roughly $148,000 more than person B from a 3-year delay. 3 years of saying, not yet. That gap isn't a punishment.
It's just math, but understanding it changes the urgency. The best time to save your first $1,000 was yesterday. The second best time is today. And here's the thing about $200 a month. That's not an aggressive savings rate. That's $46 a week. That's one less dinner out, one less impulse Amazon order, one less weekend where money just somehow disappeared. The first $1,000 unlocks the machine, but the machine has to be turned on first.
Let's get specific, because here's what nobody tells you about saving your first $1,000. The money isn't even the most valuable thing you gain. Change number 1. You stop being the financial emergency. Before $1,000, you are the person who calls someone when something goes wrong. You're the person borrowing $300 until payday. You're the person putting $180 on a credit card you're already struggling with. After $1,000, you're not that person anymore. And I don't say that to make you feel bad about where you are right now. I say it because most people underestimate how much energy it takes to live in that position. The mental load of knowing you're one bad day away from a crisis. When that weight lifts, even partially, you think more clearly, you make better decisions, you sleep better. Change number 2. Debt stops growing so fast. Here's the math on this one that most people never see. The average American carries about $6,000 in credit card debt at an average interest rate of around 21%. That's over $100 a month in interest charges, money you're paying just to exist in debt, just to stay in place. But people with a small emergency fund use their credit cards differently. Instead of charging an emergency and paying interest on it for 14 months, they absorb the hit from savings, rebuild, and the cycle of compounding debt slows down dramatically. $1,000 in savings doesn't just protect you from emergencies, it protects you from the debt spiral that emergencies create. Change number 3. Your income starts going further. When you're broke, you pay a premium for everything. You can't buy in bulk because you don't have the cash up front. You pay overdraft fees, averaging $35 a pop, because your timing is always tight. You buy things at full price because you couldn't stock up during the sale. You take the first offer on everything because you can't afford to wait for a better one. This is what researchers call the poverty premium. Being poor is expensive, and having even $1,000 saved starts dismantling that premium. You can buy the Costco bulk pack. You can wait for the sale. You can decline the offer and negotiate. The $1,000 doesn't just sit there. It acts as a lever that makes every other dollar you earn go further. Change number 4. Your relationship with work changes. This one is subtle, but powerful. When you have nothing saved, you are entirely dependent on your next paycheck. Your employer knows it, even if they've never thought about it explicitly. And on some level, you know it too. $1,000 won't let you quit your job, but it gives you just enough footing to negotiate differently, to push back on something unreasonable, to explore other options without feeling like the walls are closing in, to walk into a performance review with a little less desperation in your eyes. Confidence at work isn't just a personality trait. A lot of it is financial. And the moment you have even a small cushion, something in your posture changes. Change number 5. You stop thinking short-term about money. Before $1,000, financial planning feels almost laughable. You're not thinking about retirement, you're thinking about Thursday. Long-term goals are for people who have the luxury of a long term. After $1,000, something opens up. You start thinking in months instead of weeks. You start considering what you want your money to do, not just what it needs to cover. You start reading articles like this one and actually believing they apply to you. That mental shift from surviving to planning is worth more than the $1,000 itself, because a planner with $1,000 will eventually have $100,000. A survivor with $1,000 will probably spend it. Part 5. The fastest legit path to your first $1,000. Okay, so how do you actually get there? Especially if right now your savings account has $23 and some loose change. Here's the honest answer.
You need a focused sprint, not a lifestyle overhaul. Don't try to fix everything at once. Don't try to build a perfect budget before you start. Don't wait until after the holidays, or until you get a raise, or until things calm down. They won't. Start now with whatever you have. The $1,000 sprint framework. Step 1. Find your $200. Pull up your last 30 days of bank and credit card transactions, not to judge yourself, just to see clearly. Find the category where money is leaking. Food delivery, subscriptions, random online shopping, going out. Pick one. Cut it aggressively for 60 days. For most people, that single move frees up $150 to $300 a month. Step 2. Open a separate savings account and name it. Literally name it First $1,000 or Emergency Fund in your banking app. Psychological research consistently shows that labeling money for a specific purpose makes you significantly less likely to spend it. Put your first $50 in it today, right now, before you finish this video. Step 3. Automate the transfer. Set up an automatic transfer for the day after your paycheck hits. Even $50, even $25. Make the saving happen before you have a chance to spend it. This removes willpower from the equation, and willpower is a terrible saving strategy. Step 4. Find one-time cash injections. You don't have to get there purely through monthly saving. Look around your house for things you haven't touched in a year. Clothes, electronics, furniture, exercise equipment. List them on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. A single weekend of selling things you've forgotten you own can generate $200 to $500 towards your goal without changing your monthly budget at all. Step 5. Protect it like it's your lifeline. Because it is. When you get close to $1,000 and a non-emergency temptation shows up, a trip, a sale, I deserve this moment, remind yourself what that money actually represents. It's not a shopping fund. It's the beginning of the version of your financial life where you're not one bad day away from disaster. Most people following this framework with median income and genuine commitment can reach their first $1,000 in 60 to 90 days. Some faster, some slower. But the timeline doesn't matter as much as the direction. As long as the number is going up, you are winning. $1,000 is not a destination. I want to be clear about that. Once you get there, your next milestone is 3 months of expenses, then 6. Then you start investing. Then you watch the compounding machine start to run. Then one day you'll be watching a video about what happens after your first $100,000 and you'll barely remember what it felt like to check your bank account and immediately look away. But none of that happens without the beginning. None of it happens without that first $1,000. The financial advice world is obsessed with people who already have money, how to grow it, how to protect it, how to make it work for you. But the people who need help most are the ones at the start, the ones who have been told wealth building isn't for them, or that they need to make more money first, or that the system is too rigged to bother. It is harder than it used to be, that's true. The math is tighter, the cost of living is brutal, and none of that is your fault. But $1,000 is still possible. And once you have it, once you actually have it, you'll understand why this video exists. Start today. Not Monday, not next month, today. Your future self doesn't need you to be perfect. They just need you to start. If this video hit differently than you expected, subscribe, because every week I make videos about the real mechanics of building wealth on a normal income. No fluff, no get rich quick, just the stuff that actually works. And if you want to know what happens after the $1,000, what to do with it, where to put it, how to grow it, that video is right here. I'll see you there.